Hey guys, I know we're all more than a little freaked out about what's going on with SNAP benefits next month. So today I wanted to pop in and talk to you about where you can go to get free food during the government shutdown. At this point, we've been warned that if the shutdown continues, SNAP benefits will not be available. Other forms of food benefits may also be compromised as funding begins to run out. And I want to make sure that you have access to what you need to get by. And this is something that's been weighing on me really heavily lately. So, we're going to go over every option that I could think of. And as we reach the end of this list, I also have a freebie for you that may be able to help you make the most of whatever food you're able to receive. Now, I want you to know, like I said, we're going over everything I could think of here, with one exception. If you are a furloughed worker, there is an entirely separate list for you because there's a lot of more unconventional options that are opening up there. Restaurants and different things that are choosing to serve people who are not currently getting paid either for the work that they're doing or because they've been sent home from work. So if you're interested in that list, I would point you toward our Fast Facts by Low Income Relief channel because we'll be rolling out that video sometime in the next few days as we get that list fully compiled. Now, for everyone else who is maybe low income and dependent on the benefits we usually discuss on this channel, let's dive in and look at what may be available for you. So, first up, you've heard me talk about this before. This is one of my favorite organizations that is out there, and it is called Lasagna Love. This is an all volunteer organization where people in your community prepare and deliver free lasagnas to families in need. It started during the pandemic and now it is operational in all 50 states, but not necessarily every area in every state. You need to have a volunteer in your area who is signed up in order to be able to register for this. However, if you do live in an area where it is available, there are no income limits, no proof required. You can request up to one a month in most cases, and volunteers often deliver it within days. You can request your meal at lasagnalove.org, and I would strongly recommend that if you are in need of food. Now, mutual aid groups are another option. These are nonprofits or grassroots organizations that share essential needs, whether that's going to be food, diapers, hygiene items, things like that. And I know as this continues, there's going to be more and more need for that kind of support. Many of these also offer those kind of take what you need community fridges or outdoor pantries, which we're going to talk about more a little bit later because there's other organizations that do this as well. But you can go to mutualaidhub.org or search Facebook for mutual aid with your city name to find active community groups near you. This is one of the best options for finding that kind of local support. Now, of course, your local nonprofits and faith based food programs are going to be key here. Many churches, mosques, and community centers often run weekly food distributions or meal programs, and you usually, in almost all cases that I'm aware of, do not have to be a member of that faith to participate. So it's really important to proactively reach out to the local religious centers in your area and ask them what kind of outreach or ministry or community support features that they offer because that can open up a lot of resources and a lot of help for you. Now, St. Vincent de Paul, Salvation Army, Catholic Charities, we know that these guys are awesome at operating food pantries, hot meal sites, and other forms of support. There are other options available as well, but they tend to be a lot more variable depending on your local area. So don't assume that just because you don't have one of the big three in your area, you're out of luck, because there may be other organizations in your area that can help you out. So to find local help, please dial 211 or visit findhelp.org. Both of those are going to list verified community resources, and you can talk to them and get the list of resources in your area. So I strongly recommend doing that if you are going to need that kind of support, and do it early because a lot of these nonprofits are going to get more and more strained as time goes on because they're also probably not getting the funding that they need from the government as well. Now, community food pantries are awesome, and I'm seeing little boxes. I put a lending library up here in the image, but I'm seeing boxes like this for food pop up everywhere. I don't know if it's just the area I live in or if it's happening in other communities, but we've got people putting up these little boxes with canned goods in them at their end of their driveways. We've got one in our local mall. We've got one at the fire station. Like, they're happening everywhere. So don't be afraid to ask if anybody knows where a little food pantry is. That's what we call them in our area. You can go to littlefreepantry.org. You can go to freefridge.info. Those are both going to help you find organizations like that. These are usually stocked by neighbors, so make sure that you're considerate when you're getting that help. Usually it's going to be one person or a group of people who are donating what they can, just trying to help neighbors out. So be mindful of that. But in a pinch, go look for these sorts of organizations. And you can call around. A lot of times, your local nonprofits will know about them. Fire stations seem to be a pretty common place for these to be placed. Community action agencies may be aware of where they are. 211 might even be able to point you in the right direction. I happen to know where mine are because I, first of all, saw it while I was walking around the mall, but also I follow my local nonprofits on Facebook because of what we do here at Low Income Relief. I follow a lot of pages to try to aggregate all of this information for you. So, staying connected to all of the organizations in your area can open up so much information, and I strongly recommend that. Now, in addition, gleaning programs are also amazing. If you are blessed to live in an area that has a lot of agriculture, you might be able to find some amazing opportunities to save money and save food that would otherwise go to waste. You can go to nationalgleaningproject.org. They have a gleaning map that will show you the opportunities in your area that they're aware of. But you can also contact local farms, community gardens, that sort of thing. I don't know how things are where you're at, but my library has a community garden. There's a lot of different organizations that will let you come in and glean or take the leftover produce after their harvest, which can make a huge difference. In addition to that, community meal sites are great. You may be aware of these by the name of soup kitchens. It's what they used to be called. A lot of them have adapted, and it's not just soup. A lot of them even offer grab and go meals so that you don't have to sit down in the setting. It all depends. Some of the well known names for these programs include Community Meals. Food Not Bombs is a great organization that puts on community meals like this. Loaves and Fishes. There are a lot of community organizations that do this, and a lot of times they're not fancy and they're not even organized by like nonprofits. Sometimes they're just groups of people who see a need and fill it, and bless their hearts for doing that. I love people who step in when they see a need. So again, asking around in your community if anyone knows of, churches or nonprofits or organizations that are offering meals can really help open up a whole world that may be hard to find otherwise. A lot of these things are best found through word of mouth. So do be aware of that. Now, help for seniors and people with disabilities, because I know that there's some unique needs there. If you are currently receiving help from Meals on Wheels, I did see that 9 out of 10 Meals on Wheels partners rely on government funding for half or more of their budget. So there is a chance that Meals on Wheels will be impacted by the shutdown, especially if it continues too long. The hope is that it won't be. And in some areas, it may have more local funding and support that will enable it to keep running. But definitely connect with that if you think that that's something that may be available in your area. The Elder Care Locator is a special resource line for seniors and people with disabilities. It can help connect you with local meal sites, grocery delivery programs, volunteer organizations, other things that can help you in many different ways. And you can call the number that you see over there on screen or go to eldercare.acl.gov to connect with that resource. And of course, many senior centers also offer congregate meals. They're often free or low cost lunches that are served in group settings. Often there's some form of entertainment or games involved as well. Do be aware that many of them have what they call a suggested donation. That's something I've encountered a lot. Now, I know there is awkwardness when they request a donation that you can't afford, but in a lot of cases, I've seen these organizations have policies that say you won't be turned away for an inability to pay. So if you don't have any other options and you're very hungry, don't hesitate to ask them if the price they're listing is a suggested donation or an actual cost, because you may be surprised at how that actually works, and you may be able to access food without having to pay for it if you don't have the funds available. Please don't abuse that. Again, a lot of these rely on the honor system or on the charity of others, so it's important to make sure that you're being honest upfront and respectful in those situations. But I do know that a lot of you are barely getting by. And if SNAP does stop being operational, I want you to be aware of every potential option I could think of, because I'm deeply, deeply worried about you all. So, along with that, programs for kids and families. So there are nonprofits like Blessings in a Backpack. They put meals in backpacks for kids to take home to eat over the weekend, and other kids-centered organizations like Boys and Girls Clubs, YMCA programs that may be able to help fill in the gap when school meals aren't available, such as on weekends or after school, that sort of thing. You can contact your school or your local youth center to see if they're running any sort of food programs. I know a lot of communities have like teen centers where they're encouraged to go to have a safe place to hang out after school. They may have food available for those kids. Some states are encouraging families to apply for free or reduced priced meals during the shutdown because they're not sure what's going to happen with SNAP. You should apply for that anyway, because if it's something that you're eligible for, it can help stretch your SNAP dollars farther. But we know that for now, the school meal program is going to remain operational. It may be impacted if the shutdown continues for too long, but right now, some states are pointing to that as a resource that can help families. When you sign up for that, if you aren't already, ask them if they offer any other support, such as those weekend meals that sometimes the schools can send home with kids, because that can also offset some of the costs that you may be facing. Now, food rescue programs are another great resource, but they're not free. It's just a way to save money on groceries. So, apps like Too Good to Go and Flash Food can help you buy surplus or leftover food at a discount. It's not completely free, but I've seen people say that they can stretch your food budget by 70% or more. Along with that, salvage stores are a great resource. Those are the little markets that sell things that maybe the main grocer in your area doesn't want to sell because maybe the produce is ugly or it's out of season, like Easter candy in October, that sort of thing, or there's a misprint on the label, or there's some other form of imperfection that the main grocer was like, so they sell it at a discount to the surplus grocer, and then they can sell it to you at a discount. I used to have one of these in my neighborhood before I moved, and it was amazing. I could buy stuff for pennies on the dollar, and it really helped our family out. So we have a list of surplus stores on our website at lowincomerelief.com. If you just search salvage store, you should be able to find that list. And if you have one of those in your area, go check it out because it may help you get a lot more food for your money. Now, if you've made it this far and you're still not seeing anything that works for you, I apologize. I am doing the best I can to dig up every possible option. I would encourage you to call 211 to find more local resources in your area. Check out your local Buy Nothing group. Odds are they're going to be flooded by requests, but sometimes they do give away food and groceries for free. As we move into the holiday season, it's also a good idea to be connected there because I've seen a lot of holiday giveaways happen on those groups as well. And of course, NetWish is still an option. This is a small organization that gives out direct financial help valued at $200 or less to people in urgent need. You go to their website, you fill out the wish form. If you're selected, you'll get something by snail mail. It's not a super reliable thing that you can count on getting, but it is an option you can try. And if you're selected, it may be able to help you out. Now, before I get into that freebie I promised you, and I promise it's still coming, I just want to remind you that Chapter Medicare is a great resource for help if you are eligible for Medicare benefits. I know you're probably hearing a lot of people talk right now about grocery cards and other perks that they get through their healthcare plan, but it's really important to make sure that you're not compromising your healthcare when you sign up for those, because sometimes those plans have fine print that you don't know about till it's too late. You want to make sure if you're going for any of those incentives that your doctors and your prescriptions and your core needs are still covered. Chapter is stellar at helping you evaluate those options. They have all sorts of databases they can look at to help you figure out what your costs would be, make sure your doctors are still covered, and that you're getting the bang for your buck when it comes to Medicare. So go check them out. They're helping people save over $1,000 on average. Definitely give them a call. Now, for that freebie I promised you, we have decided to give away free copies of our Food Bank Cookbook during the shutdown because I know a lot of you may be put in a situation where you're getting food that you don't necessarily usually cook with, whether that's going to be, dried beans or something that isn't convenient and you don't maybe know exactly what to do with that. We put together this cookbook to try to give you guys ideas on what you could do with the normal food bank staples. Normally, we charge $8 for it in our store, but you can grab your copy for free right now if you go to the link that you see on screen right there. Do know that if you sign up for that, you will also be signed up for our email list. So we'll be sending you updates 3 times a week with all of the resources that we find, any updates we have on your benefits and things like that. But you will also be able to download your copy of that cookbook for free. So make sure you check that out. Make sure you call our sponsor chapter for help with your Medicare and go check out the resources that we listed for you here in this video. We will continue looking for every possible avenue of help for you as we move through this shutdown. I hope you know how concerned we all are for you. You are in our thoughts and in our prayers, and we will continue doing the very best we can to find help for you. Until then, go check out our other videos for more support, and we'll be back tomorrow with more ways that you can save money and get free stuff. I'll see you there.